Bartolo's got to get a new lens. Puts a lot into it.
Not quite sure what it is with my rant videos and you all seeming to really like it much more than my normal videos. Maybe it's because baseball is really the only thing that I'm passionate about in life, or maybe it's because I'm so ugly that it's interesting to look at someone this horrifying talk about baseball because you guys like baseball as well. But if you do not follow me on Twitter, you guys have missed a firestorm of craziness. It's not, I mean, thank goodness, because it gets us distracted and away from all of the Astros news. We could talk about something other than that. In 2021, the National League might be adopting the designated hitter, and that's what we're going to talk about today. We're going to see if we can try and convince some people. We're going to see what the true common ground is. So I want this video to be the final resting place for all of these arguments. If you're on one side, let me know. If you're on the other side, please let me know. We are going to draw a line in the sand, and then you guys will have to take a vote. I'm going to put the poll at the end of the video. Vote yes, I want the DH in the National League, or no, I do not want the DH in the National League. Now, one quick pivot. I do want to mention rest in peace to Kobe Bryant and all of the others involved in the helicopter crash. Videos like this can get very heated, but when something like that happens, it kind of puts everything into perspective. Let's say that in 2021, the designated hitter does or does not happen in the National League. Truly, it is not going to affect your life as much as someone passing away, so I just want you guys to really take this to heart and just, if you get mad about this video, again, it's nothing personal. This is all trivial. This is something that we have to take with a grain of salt. Stop holding grudges. Stop being a jerk on the internet just to be a jerk. There are bigger things in the world, so I just wanted to extend my condolences before we start ranting. You know, you guys like these videos. I mean, without further ado, again, rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. Let's start talking baseball. The first point that I do want to make is do not be this guy. Regardless of if you want pitchers to hit or not, do not be the guy. I'm not even going to mention his handle. But don't say that designated hitters are not good at baseball simply because they do not play defense. This is like saying Edgar Martinez sucks at baseball because he was elected into the Hall of Fame as pretty much a DH heavy player. So don't be that guy. Now we have all the little things out the way. Let's start talking about the meat and potatoes of today's argument. So for the most part, what I've seen, again, I've been talking about this all day long on Twitter. If you are a National League fan, let's say you're a Braves fan, a Giants fan, a Phillies fan, you pretty much don't want anything to change. But if you're myself, an Indians fan or a Rangers fan or a Yankees fan, you are in favor of the designated hitter because we've been accustomed to having guys like Franmil Reyes, Jorge Soler, Gary Sanchez has been known to DH, as well as Edwin Encarnacion. And my biggest examples are going to be Nelson Cruz and David Ortiz. If the National League fans had their way and the DH did not exist, maybe they don't even think that way. Maybe they just want leagues to be separate and one has the DH, the other doesn't have the DH. But for the most part, National League fans don't want a DH at all. They think it's stupid. They think it's dumb. Well, if you have that mindset, what you're saying is that David Ortiz at 40 years old, who led baseball with home runs, RBIs, and OPS, that season would not exist because he could not move, he could not play defense. If the designated hitter did not exist, we would have never had a 40-year-old MVP campaign from David Ortiz, who played one game at first base that entire season. Every other game was as a designated hitter. In 2019, we saw it with Jorge Soler and Nelson Cruz. Nelson Cruz, he's always been known to rake, but to do what he did at 48 years old, he had 25 home runs in the second half of last year. 25 home runs in 56 games. We saw what he did a couple years ago. This was like 6 to 8 years ago, how bad he was at defense for the Texas Rangers. He's one of the biggest reasons why, I'm sorry, Rangers fans, if this kind of takes the Band-Aid off the wound, he's one of the biggest reasons why the Rangers are not World Series champions, because he cannot play defense. JD Martinez, he is an MVP candidate because even though he sucks at defense, he is given an opportunity to hit on a daily basis. That's the argument right now. I feel like you can extend the career of players if you allow them to hit and do what they're best at towards the end of their career, because then you get seasons like 38-year-old Nelson Cruz. Then you get seasons like 40-year-old David Ortiz. I think that it's the best in terms of entertainment wise, because I'd rather watch Nelson Cruz in the second inning as opposed to Michael Pineda going up there and trying to hit against the Cubs in an interleague play matchup and him striking out with the bases loaded. I don't want to see that, so I'm all for the DH coming to the National League. Now that I have my opinion out there, you guys can really just go at me because I do approve of the DH coming to the National League. Let's go ahead and give the counter argument. So the counter argument that national fans like to make is that Michael Lorenzen, Zach Greinke, and Madison Bumgarner are the 3 reasons why you do not need to pinch hit or have a DH for National League pitchers. But if you do the math, so there are 15 National League teams, okay, so 15. Let's say that every single National League team trots out 5 starting pitchers. Let's go with the average. They have 12 pitchers per average on every National League roster. If you times that by 15, you have 180 pitchers that trot out to the mound on any given basis for a single season if we're talking about the National League. So if 180 pitchers go out there and 3 of them, Bumgarner, Greinke, and who's the other guy? I don't even remember. Michael Lorenzen. If only 3 of them can make consistent contact with the baseball, that is 0.02% of pitchers who can actually maybe have a career as a Major League Baseball hitter. Now, honestly, I don't agree with that because Michael Lorenzen had a 500 OPS in 2019. Do you know that Madison Bumgarner has a career 177 batting average? I don't think that anyone would sign him to a $15 million contract. Edwin Encarnacion just got $12 million just to hit. So that kind of puts it into perspective how good he is at hitting and how much the White Sox respect his offensive prowess. Whereas Madison Bumgarner, bless his heart, he hit some of the furthest home runs that a pitcher has ever been able to do. But no one is Shohei Ohtani. There is only one Shohei Ohtani where you can make a legitimate argument that he can be an ace for a ball club and win a Rookie of the Year as a DH. So that's my argument right there. I don't think it's fair to have Kevin Gausman go up to the dish for the Atlanta Braves. Now, he's with the San Francisco Giants, but the fact is he was with the Braves last year. He was 1 for 27 as a hitter. Not only did he suck as a pitcher, if you're a Braves fan, I know that you're with me by saying Kevin Gausman, thank goodness that he's gone because he was a garbage can. No, he's not a garbage can like an Astros version. He was really bad at pitching. And then on top of that, he went 1 for 27. So he was giving up runs. He wasn't driving in runs. Whereas let's say that you had Marcell Ozuna, who's not the best outfielder. Let's say that he was your DH for the Braves and Kevin Gausman no longer had to pitch. If Kevin Gausman still was on the team, you're no longer having a pitcher try and go 1 for 27 when you have a guy like Marcell Ozuna on the club, so you can keep Markakis, Ender Inciarte, and all of their other outfielders in place. And I think that's the way that the game needs to go. Now, everyone says that baseball is fine. I would disagree. Here's a graphic of the attendance. It is going down and down and down. Also, one more little fact for you guys. Pitchers who choose to hit or pitchers who force to hit, they don't have a choice in the National League. They strike out 71% of the time. Chris Bryant was once clowned on early on in his career because he struck out too much, which was like 30% of the time, maybe 40% of the time if we're talking about Javier Baez. That is 31% less than pitchers who have to hit because of the stupid National League rule. I guess another counter argument is the fact that there's more strategy and there's more chess pieces that you have to manage if you are in a National League ballpark. I don't think anyone goes to the ballpark to watch Joe Madden do his thing as a Chicago Cubs manager. I know for one thing, I would much rather watch Nelson Cruz, David Ortiz, Jorge Soler, Franmil Reyes hit a ball 500 feet than watch Mike Soroka have a 125 batting average with runners in scoring position. But that is my argument for today. I guess the final note that I will end this video on is obviously, now that you have heard all the stats about pitchers, they strike out 71% of the time. Bumgarner, Greinke, and Lorenzo, yes, they all rake, kind of, if you put it into perspective of other pitchers. They represent 0.02% of pitchers who can rake, so there's that. If you want the, not even in the top 1%, so that's saying something right there. And also, if you don't want Nelson Cruz, David Ortiz, or anyone else at age 35 plus to have amazing ends to their careers, yeah, don't put the DH in the National League. So in my opinion, if Nelson Cruz goes to free agency in 2021, he's going to have 30 teams to choose from because he can go be a DH for the Giants or the Phillies or the Marlins because they just adopted the DH, and I'm okay with that. More positions in terms of careers. You have players extending their careers. You have more excitement because Johnny Cueto, maybe he's good at hitting, maybe he's not. I haven't looked at the stats, but he's not going to roll into a double play to end a momentous inning, and that's my opinion. So I guess the final note is, if you're a college baseball player, if you played high school, I know you know this term, PO. If you don't know what PO stands for, it's for the kid that sucked at hitting in high school or college and was an absolute dominant force on the mound. A PO stands for pitchers only. I don't understand why we have POs getting drafted every single year and then all of a sudden we expect them to even hit 200 against guys like Max Scherzer or Jacob deGrom. Jacob deGrom has won back-to-back Cy Youngs, and you have Bryce Harper, one of the best hitters in the National League, struggling against him. So you're going to take a guy that hasn't hit in 7 years, go put him in the box, and then unless you're Bartolo Colon, It is not fun to watch. So that is the argument for me today. I am going to go ahead and put up a poll right here sometime throughout this video. I want you to let me know after hearing all the facts that I think that the DH should be in the National League. Should it happen? Please let me know in the comment section down below, as well as do not forget to look at the poll because we can see a finite number up here of who agrees and disagrees. So thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed these rants, let me know because I have one more rant in store that could come as soon as tomorrow. So if you want to see that, leave a like on this video, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out. Wow. What a firestorm of a few days. Also, RIP Kobe. Gonna miss you, man, and everyone else involved. Damn.
Now, regardless of what Peralta throws up there. Alvarez always entertaining.